Hey there, future professionals. Welcome to Employability Plus, the channel where you'll find everything you need to build the skills that get you hired.
Hello friends, welcome back to Employability Plus channel with you Arun. In today's session, we are going to discuss how to create a dynamic graph in Excel. Graphs, you know the importance of graphs charts, right? We can present the data in a most elegant way or most presentable way through a graph. As you know, pictures speaks thousand words, then numbers. When you see it as a number, it is difficult for you to immediately interpret the information. But if it is a visual one, if it is a graph, it is easy for us to analyze a data. So what's so great about this one is we are going to create dynamic graphs and advanced graphs in Excel. You might be knowing pie chart, bar chart, even Gantt chart, Pareto charts. But this is going to be dynamic graphs which we are going to see in this series. And first we are going to see how to create a dynamic graph. Before we begin, let me show you how it looks like, right? A dynamic graph. Let's say you have this data set, right? So you have the name of the company, sales, profit, and number of customers. Now in this case, we have three different variables attached to a label name of the company. So we have to present three different variables: performance, like in the sense in terms of the sales, in terms of the profit, the number of customers. So there are different variables which we are talking about. And the ranges and the scales are different completely, right? We cannot, show 2,935, which is a sales, along with the number of customers, because both are in two different ranges, right? Two different scales. So we usually use a two-way axis graph in Excel, which we have seen, which I have shown in another section. It was there in one of the video. I have shown you how to create a two-way graph. Now we are going to take this understanding to the next level, where we are going to have a dynamic graph will be built, dynamic graph built on this concept of two-way axis. Now look at this data. You have, just look at the screen. Now you have in the sense you have three things in this one, and in this graph. One is the sales, another is the profit, number of customer is given as the secondary axis. So you can see two scales here, one with 500,000, right, and another with 10, 20, 30. So together we are going to we are seeing all, right. We are seeing the sales, we are seeing the profit and number of customers in one chart, one graph. Now that is two-way axis. Now what we do here is, what we are going to do here is, this is what I have done already, which I'm going to show you from the scratch. So your Excel skills, you are not limited only to normal graphs. You're going to create advanced graphs going forward. Right now, in this case, when I do sales, you can able to see now, if I click on number of customers, I can see only the growth of customers based on this range. Based on this axis, I can see only the growth of customers between companies, company A to company Z. Now, if I add number of customers and sales, now I can see both, the sales performance and the number of customers, because I have ticked sales, I have ticked number of customers. Basically, I checked. Now, in case if I want to compare sales and number of profit, sorry, sales and profit, I'll tell only those two things, not number of customers. It will be one-way access, right? So like this, we can choose the, or we can, click the checkbox based on our requirement, okay, which is what we call it. It's a dynamic graph, which has two-way axis, and it also has a feature of checkbox where you can select your own, scales, in the sense own variable, right? So we are going to start this. Although I have shown you how, how it works, now I'm going to show you how to create this graph from the scratch, right? Let's dismantle this one now. Let's delete this, okay, and do it from the scratch. And first and foremost, before we begin this one, first and foremost, I suggest you to have a developer tab in your Excel. In case if you don't have developer tab, all you have to do is go to file, right? Click on more options. There you'll find, customized ribbon, where you would find in customized ribbon you will find developer. If you come down, you'll find developer. Here in this case, it is ticked for me since I have already selected. If it is not available with you, don't worry, just select developer from here and then give OK. You'll get a developer tab. So the developer tab will be right on the top of your ribbon, right? It will be here on the top. Okay, then we can start. Before we begin, let's create a two-way axis graph. So that can be a model for us to create the dynamic graph. We need to have the model, right? How it looks like. So insert, let's create a two-way graph. Insert, chart, select the clustered column. It is there. Just click on the clustered column and click these dot ones, the smaller ones. Select the cluster, and then after cluster you have to select the smaller one, which is the number of customers. Out of these three bars, one will be very small because the scale is very low. It's less than 100. This range is 100, so the scale is low, so it will be there. Now you change the scale into secondary axis, and then immediately change. First you select secondary axis. With the same screen, you go to change chart type and select your this option. So it becomes now a two-way graph. Now we are ready with a template for creating our dynamic graph, which is we have created a two-way axis, two scale basically. Here is one and another is this one, right? So it has all three things. Now how we can make it as a dynamic here? Let's understand. Let's see how we can make this more dynamic and vibrant, right? So instead of like sales, profit, number of customers, we have to create a button for all these things. That's the first step. Step number one, we are creating. Go to developer. In developer, you are selecting insert. You have a checkbox option. Click on the checkbox, bring it here, create a button, checkbox, and then similarly copy, paste, copy, paste. So three buttons. Put one here, another, this one. Align it properly so it looks very good, right? With the equal space. Yeah. So you got dynamic. You got the checkboxes. Once you get the checkbox, rename the checkboxes. This sales. This one is profit. And this one is number of customers. If it is not coming, drag it. It will be visible to you, right? So you've got three things, right? Now, immediately you can just draw something like this, okay? So that you are temporarily creating a tab. Simply select it and change it to colors. So it looks like a real one. It looks like both are in the same, although it two different things. It looks all in one go, like all in one, one view, right? So this is how it looks like, right? Once you create this one, you can just right click here, format control, check. If this is checked, see the options are unchecked. This is already default is unchecked. These are unchecked, these check boxes. So select checked. Once it is checked, what do you want? If it is checked, I want this check result should be somewhere here. You can put it somewhere down or somewhere where it is not visible. This is one, right? I'm giving OK. Now it comes as true because it is checked now, right? So I'm for reference, I'm keeping it as a yellow. So next one, right click, format control, check, cell link. I'm coming down, selecting the next one. Similarly, the third one, I'm clicking, right click, format control, check, then cell link is, I'm selecting the third one, doing OK. All three things are checked, so it is coming as true, true, true in the bottom. You can just don't leave it in the front, put this somewhere and hide it, right? So now when I untick all these three things, what happens to the results? It comes as false, all three false. So this is what we need to connect. So based on our requirement, we are going to connect it now, right? Based on our requirement, we are going to connect it now. So how are we going to connect it? Now we are going to use a if condition, simple if condition. Let's copy, paste it, okay, and then you can put equal to, okay. Let's say this one we are taking right now. Just we are taking only one, right? Keep it like that. Equal to if fonts color, if it is white, I think I kept it as white, so it is coming equal to if, open the bracket, I'm increasing the font size so it will be visible to you, equal to if, okay, if this, select that first one, if this is true, okay, that is the logical test. If it is true, right, so what do you want? Now we have selected equal to if this logical test, if it is true, okay, comma, it's already true, so if it is true, what do you want? If it is true, value, what you want, value is this, I want the value which is on the top for sales company A, I want. If it is true, it is already true because we have selected the sales. Now if it is not true, then I want 0. Okay, now where I have to put freeze, see, please remember, if you have not clear about absolute reference, not clear about two-way access, I have done videos on this before. Please go back to those videos, because now we are going to see all those graphs, dynamic graphs, which will use your the formulas or the functions which you learned earlier in my series, right? Now in this place, now we are going to freeze it. Like, let's say this is one, I'm going to take this as a result. If that is true, okay, if let's say this is true, okay, n40 is true, then I want to have this as a result. So this n40 should not go down when I copy down the data. Okay, we have learned about dollar sign usage, so I'm putting a dollar sign in between n and 40 and then copy pasting this data. So it will be correct. So when I copy paste in other places also, it will be correct. Reason being, this is moving right and I kept other data also in the right side only. That is the logic. If I keep it like this, it will be an error. So I deliberately I kept it like this links, so it has come correctly. Now if I change it, okay, correct. Now just don't look at the graph right now because we have not linked the graph. Click, if I click this one, all three is coming. If I click only sales and number of customers, only sales and number of customer coming in the table. If I click only sales, sales will come. Now it is only profit will come. Like this, it keeps changing according to the selection of the checkbox. Now link this with the graph. Right click, change, sorry, select data. Instead of this place selection, change the selection. Since you have already created the graph, you have to only change the data selection and give OK. Now your graph becomes a dynamic graph. What do I mean by that? If I take number of customers will come. If I untick profit and sales, only number of customers will be there. If I take only profit and number of customers, profit and number of customers will be there. And sales. See, folks, this is a very easiest graph, and even you don't find these kind of graphs in even sophisticated tools. Advanced Excel, you could find, you can create these kind of dynamic graphs. Many more like this. If you know if conditions, VLOOKUP, and if you want to learn all those functions, my previous videos are there, explained in a very simplest way for you to understand, especially for nested if condition. I don't see any other videos you could find a nested so easily explained, in a simple language, how to create a nested if condition in Excel, right? Like this, many more videos in the past I have created. So please look into that, and this is how we can create a dynamic graph in Excel. And this one graph, similarly, we are going to see multiple graphs like this in upcoming sections, right? I hope you enjoyed and you learned how to create a dynamic graph in Excel. Right? So please do subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscription button and subscribe. And thanks. Thank you very much.